Welcome to A1R Psychic Radio. You're here with Amanda Hall Psychic, all the way from the Gold Coast here in Australia. First off, I'm going to apologise for me losing my voice. It's probably because I've been talking too much in the last week. I've been very, very busy. And for those of you that follow me on Facebook, you'll know it's been my birthday. So, no, I haven't been out on having a few tittles for my birthday. I don't actually drink. I've had a couple of glasses of water to celebrate. So it's been an interesting week, and it's always busy when we get to this time of the year, heading towards Christmas and my birthday, and I have lots of friends that have birthdays at this time of the year, so I'm always feeling quite pumped. So what does a birthday mean astrologically? It's really interesting because I know we all celebrate it no matter what your faith is around the world. We acknowledge the fact that we're a year older and hopefully a year wiser. But on an astrological term, what a birthday means is a solar return. And solar meaning sun, which means that the sun is back to sit on top of the sun where it was at your birth. And that's why it's known as a solar return. Now, this doesn't always precisely happen on your given birth date. It can be sometimes 48 hours beforehand or 48 hours after the actual given date on your birth certificate. So it just means it's the time of new beginnings, new opportunities, and the time to really renew a contract with ourselves about what it is that we're hoping to achieve in this next 12 months for us on a very selfish level. Have we achieved the things that we set out to do in the last 12 months since we made this pact or contract with ourselves? And if not, is there anything on that list from the previous year that we might want to carry over into our new contract? If that's the case, then there's no harm done. We don't always complete everything in 1 year. I find it's usually a very energising time when we get to our birthday. And statistics state more people die just after their birthday than they do in the 3 months leading up to their birthday. I'm not sure how entirely true that is, but that's just a little bit of trivia for you. So to kick today's show off, we're going to start with the Simply Tarot card of the week, as we always do. And this week I'm pleased to say that it's a reasonably positive card. We've got the Emperor. The Emperor is the card of stability or stabilising influences coming into your life. Now, in this very chaotic time of the year, it's nice to have a little bit of stability or somebody wash over the top of us and say, you can take a deep breath and just calm, just take a chill pill for a little while and just relax and enjoy the time with your family and friends. So I always like to see the Emperor come out at this time of the year, because it means we have that luxury of time to just relax, even for a split second, and enjoy the atmosphere and enjoy what's to come with the weeks ahead as we lead up to the end of the year. Now, this week, because we're in such a positive vein of energy and an amazing time of the year, and also with the planet Venus being in Sagittarius, which is the planet of love and affection, I thought it was only fitting that we'd feature the love candle this week. I know it's not Valentine's Day, but I think it's the next best day. It's, we're heading towards Christmas and we should be all looking to bring more love, more loving energy into our life. And for those people that are looking to attract new love into their life or enhance their current relationship, then this is the candle for you. But love crosses many, many genres. Love isn't always about that special someone in our lives that we want to have a relationship with. Love can be just sharing a very positive, loving energy with our neighbours, with our co-workers, with people that we come in contact with in our day-to-day life. So this is a really lovely candle if you just want the really nice, loving sort of energy to waft through your home or your office or somewhere special. This is the candle for you. So we're going to continue on with our 4-part series of Neptune through the signs. Now, I know in the last couple of weeks we've spoken about Neptune, the planet of illusion and delusion, and I've had lots of messages from people saying to me, but doesn't Neptune usually get bad press? Isn't Neptune usually a naughty planet? Isn't it something that we need to be scared of or frightened of? No, the answer is no, it's not. We all have Neptune in our chart, whether we like it or not. We all have the 10 planets or 8 planets and 2 luminaries in our chart. It's just a matter of where they fall, in what energy, to how they affect us. And then at a more advanced level on what house they actually fall in also denotes the shift or the change or the complexities of the planet and the individual energy that makes up you. So Neptune's not a planet to be feared. Neptune's a planet, I think, to be embraced, because it shows us how we can be creative. It shows us how we can get different resolutions to problems that maybe we couldn't find an answer to in a very logical, practical way. We can find it in a more creative way, or thinking outside the square, or looking under the covers, looking at it in a very different way. So Neptune, continuing through the signs, this week we're going to look at Neptune in Libra, Scorpio and Sagittarius. And you'll see as he goes through each one of those, he really sort of changes flavours. Now, Neptune in Libra is a very interesting placement, because a lot of people think of this illusion, delusion. Well, how would that fit with the Neptunian? Neptune fit with the Librian energy of balance, truth, and wanting to keep everything sort of harmonious and keep everything balanced and keep everybody happy. Well, it works actually very well here, because Neptune sort of says, okay, I can come in and I can show you a different way to arbitrate a problem. I can show you that maybe the way that you've been looking at the situation to get to the truth or bring balance into your life needs to be shaken up a little bit. Have you thought about being inspirational? Have you thought about looking at it in a different way? Have you thought about approaching it from a completely different perspective? Looking at maybe the other person's point of view. So it's quite an inspirational Neptune here, as he sort of creates opportunities to resolve issues, to bring harmony, to bring balance, to bring beauty even into a different way. So even if you look at Neptune here, if the person's Neptune in Libra is very creative, this person could bring about innovative new ways to decorate their home, or innovative new ways to look at social media in a creative, different slant. I mean, all these innovative ideas come from different places. So they didn't just, we didn't all just get up one day and invent Facebook. Somebody had to come up with that creative idea. We've all just jumped on the board and embraced it over the years. So all these sort of things may very well sit with Neptune in Libra. So just be aware that sometimes Neptune can create that breakthrough moment. That's something that we weren't expecting, because it is an illusionary thing, and out of illusions or daydreams come great ideas. So, yes, we can sometimes deceive ourselves, and, Librians aren't excused from that department either. Yes, they can sometimes deceive themselves, but where it enhances this here is because they always are able to look at the other side of the equation, they're less inclined to deceive themselves as another sign, because they are prepared to, hang on a minute, I'll go over this side of the room and look at the problem. Maybe I'll get a different perspective. So that's where Neptune can work really in its favour here. So we now move on to Neptune in Scorpio. So this is really interesting, because Neptune and Scorpio really don't like each other. Scorpio says, I want to be the boss. I'm going to keep everything hidden, go away, I'm not sharing, I'm not letting you in, I'm not letting you look at anything. And Neptune says, well, it's okay. You won't let me in, I'll find another way. I'll bang a hole through the wall, I'll get in somehow. I'm not going to let you get away with this. So once they learn to work together, I think we can really sort of get into some very deep psychological probing sort of discussions, and we can really sort of solve a lot of problems. We can break down barriers or DNA that might have been family DNA, where everybody in the family's been an alcoholic, for the last 7 generations, and then comes generation number 8 and says, hang on a minute, I'm not going to go down this path. I have the ability to change. I have the ability to find the answer of what's causing this, what's triggering this, because I'm going to not just follow the sheep. So Neptune can really work very powerfully here with Scorpio when they decide to hold hands and be good friends. By the same token, if they want to work in opposition to each other, it can be a very difficult placement. And by that, usually we attract difficult people in our lives until we're prepared to look at it. So sometimes Neptune here can mirror, if you have a succession of rotten relationships, then ask yourself why. Do you keep attracting an alcoholic or a drug addict or somebody that wants to hurt you? There's something in you that you're not looking at, and this is the message that you're sending out. So it can work in a positive or a negative. Don't sort of get bogged down on the negative so much, but look at it in the whole picture of what Neptune's trying to do, and he's trying to help you make your way through the fog, out the other side, be more empowered, have wisdom, and to make you a better person. So even though it's not a personal planet, he's really trying to help you get your life together and get your act together. So that's a really positive thing. So the final sign that we're going to look at this week is Neptune in Sagittarius. So Neptune in Sagittarius, it's, again, an interesting combination because Sag wants to do everything at 100 miles an hour and doesn't only know two speeds, fast and stop. And Neptune sort of says, no, hang on a minute, just slow down a little bit. We've got to stop. We've got to look at this. We've got to smell the coffee. We've got to analyse things a little bit. We can't just go at 100 mile an hour and say, just why not? That's the way I'm used to working. You know, I get better answers that way. And Neptune says, no, just stand still for a second. Just, smell the coffee. So once they learn to work together, we can get some really big answers here, and not just answers that are on a personal level, but we can get answers here for an entire generation or an entire race of people, or we can get some really big decisions that come from the higher mind, not from the lower sort of emotional vibration, but from really putting our thinking cap on, embracing it as a universal energy, not just as a one-size-fits-all, but in trying to encompass and make everybody sort of equal in the negotiations at the table. And it's almost a little bit like the United Nations coming together, and this is where we get the best brains from everywhere, and they put their heads together and they come up with some amazing solutions. Well, Neptune in Sagittarius is a little bit like that, so it can be being able to step out of their own comfort zone and go to a foreign country or go to a foreign place and get resolution, get answers on a much, much bigger scale. So it's actually a very exciting placement. So next week we'll be wrapping up our 4-part series in Neptune. We'll be wrapping it up with Neptune in Capricorn, Aquarius and Pisces. So I really look forward to that next week. So we've got to have a little quick trip around the universe and see what's actually happening this week in our amazing universe of ours. And I'm pleased to say Mercury's still doing his retrograde dance, and for those of you that want to know a little bit more about Mercury retrograde, you'll find that on my Facebook page, Amanda Hall Psychic. There's a nice little wrap up there of how Mercury does play his little dances and mucks up communications and breaks telephones and computers over this time, and people like me lose their voice. So that's Mercury's little claim to fame. We have, a lot of exciting things happening. I mean, probably the most exciting thing for me that we'll discuss as we get a little bit closer to Christmas is when Saturn actually moves out of Sagittarius into Capricorn, so stay tuned for that in the coming programs. But today I want to focus on the 4 planets that are actually sitting in Sagittarius in this most magical and my favourite time of the year. So we start off with the planet of love and affection, Venus. Is at 14 degrees in Sagittarius, so he's sort of about halfway through the Sagittarian energy. So he's really ramping up the Christmas marriage, joy to all, and trying to encompass everybody and be kind to each other. And I'm pleased to say a lot of people have been inboxing me and sharing their family stories with me and telling me that for the first time in many years they're reaching out to family members that there may have been a family rift with that's gone on for far too long, and how do I suggest they go about trying to mend these fences. And this is a really positive energy. Some things can't be fixed. I mean, let's be practical. Some family disagreements have to stay that way because there's just too much has gone on, or too much pain and too many people involved, and they can't be fixed. But for a lot of family arguments, and probably the majority of them, probably 99% of them, there is a solution when everybody calms down and gets over whatever the argument was about and tries to reach out and make peace so that we can all come together around the Christmas table and enjoy each other's company and catch up with what everybody's been doing. So Venus is really helping to do that this year, which I'm really excited to say. But also with the help of the Sun being in Sag, because it's our time of the year, but Mercury, the planet of communication, is actually holding hands, like sitting next to at the dinner table with the Sun at the moment. So even though this is a little bit of what's known as a wide aspect, there's about 7 degrees between them and Venus, it's still enough of an allowable, what we call in astrological terms, an orb, or enough energy between them to say that they are still holding hands. It might be a very, where we've got the Sun and Mercury sitting side by side at the dinner table. We've got Venus sitting, say, 3 chairs up on the left. So they're still close enough that they can communicate at the table, but they're not sitting next to each other. So this is what's happening at the moment. So we've got the love sort of starting to reach out to everyone. We've got some main players sitting together, holding hands at the dinner table, trying to rev everybody up and encourage people to talk about things, even things that they don't find palatable. Let's get some breakthroughs here. So this is where Mercury retrograde can be working in a positive instead of a negative. Finally, everybody's let their defences down and we can start to talk through these issues. Now, on the other side, on the right-hand side, sitting at about 7 degrees away also, so 2 chairs away on the right-hand side, we've got Saturn. And we've got Saturn, we've discussed before on the show, is the planet of discipline, the father figure, the authority figure. So here's Saturn saying, okay, good-o, Venus has come along, created the opening, everybody's feeling happy, joy, joy. We've got Mum and Auntie sitting there sort of saying, okay, well, we're going to bring this court to order. Everybody's going to sit down and listen and we're going to air our grievances and get rid of all the bumpy bits along the way. And then Daddy-o or Granddad comes along and says, great, about bloody time, everything should be this way. And the family starts to heal and mend. So I think it's a very exciting time in those sort of terms for anybody that may be experiencing that. This could very well be the time to bring your family and friends back together again. So I hope so. So we're going to take our first call tonight, and it's Shelley in New Brunswick in Canada. Are you there, Shelley?
Yes, I am.
How can I help you tonight, Shelley? Do you have a question I can work with, please?
Is there any message or anything new and exciting, my true heart's desire, that will come through in 2018? What's in store for me as to, like, what my heart's desire, something exciting, any good news?
All right, well, your heart's desire can take on many different levels, Shelley, because some people's heart's desire is just to be healthy. Other people's is to be rich or to get a new job or a new relationship. So, I mean, I'm taking
me to conceive. We've been trying for 6.5 years.
You've been trying for what, 6.5 years?
6.5 years.
To have a baby?
Yeah, he has 1, I have 3, and we've been together a long time, about 7 years, and we started trying 6.5 years ago, and we can't catch at all. Went at the doctor, they checked everything's fine, so we don't know why we can't conceive.
Okay, so conception's a very tricky area because it's not always one size fits all, as you know. You know, you can get a medical clearance to say there's nothing wrong and still nothing happens. Sometimes it's just a matter of we try too hard. And I know that might sound like a cliche, but sometimes that's the truth. Sometimes if we distract ourselves and take on board a new project or a new hobby together and are distracted, all of a sudden, bingo, you find out you're pregnant. So that may be a suggestion. I'm sort of feeling that it wasn't quite the right time yet. There is still a pregnancy to come. I'm still seeing another child. So I don't think it's...
I think that's my daughter. She's due, like, in a week or two.
No.
So that has nothing to do with me.
Oh, you're not giving birth to your grandchild? No. Yeah. No, see your daughter having a baby, yes, that's different. That's separate from you. But you two that have been trying to conceive, I still see there's another child.
Yes, we've been trying for 6.5 years. But, like, we just let it go with the flow. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I think what you need to do now is sort of take up something else so it's not the number one topic of conversation. I mean, that may very well be just throwing your energy behind your new grandchild that's coming too, you know, going O&R and babysitting may just take the pressure off the two of you. But has your husband had a really stressful time with work in the last 6 months?
No.
Why are they showing me he's tired?
Oh, waking up at 3 to be at work for 4, he'd be a little tired, yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, they were just showing me he was a little bit tired. Not that I think that's preventing, you know, you having a baby, but they were just showing me that. They were saying to me there's really nothing wrong. Just go with the flow as you've been doing. I think these.
I just want to know if Mary, Mother of God, hears my prayers.
Yes, she does. But she just said to me it wasn't the right time yet. So, you know, we've just got to go with what's divine timing. I sort of they're showing me sort of some really happy news around April, so I'm going to assume that's news of a baby on the way, because they're saying to me you're jumping up and down for joy and you're really excited. So I can't imagine what else would come into your life that would make you both that excited.
Oh, you just put a big smile on my face. If it happens, what do you think it is? Girl, boy, twins, what?
I felt female energy, but that doesn't necessarily denote it's going to be a girl. I mean, you can have a male person with a very soft, gentle energy too, but my money's on a girl.
Wow. Oh, you got me excited and you put my faith. You made me have more faith. I appreciate that.
I just think keep busy with other things, focus your energies together as a couple on something else and the baby will happen. Anyway, have a lovely Christmas and I wish you very well in the future with your impending grandchild and your new little one to come next year.
All right. Well, I hope you guys have a Merry Christmas too. God bless you.
Thank you, Shelley. It was lovely to speak to you. It's always interesting when a couple are trying to conceive a baby. There's many, many different factors that come into why we don't conceive a child, and is it the right time? And divine timing is one of those really untappable sort of energies that we sort of don't know what divine timing really is. And sometimes you see people can try and have a baby and nothing happens, and all of a sudden they just shift their energy into another project, whether it's building a house or getting involved in one of the local charities or something, and then bingo, all of a sudden there's a baby. And how many times have you read or heard the story about people who've adopted after trying for years to have a baby? No sooner adopt and bingo, naturally they conceive another child. So there's always hope. And, couples really love each other and want to bring more children into the world. It's a beautiful energy and it's a beautiful thing to want to do. So we're now going to speak with Brenda in Washington, USA. Hello, Brenda. How can I help you, sweetie?
Hello.
Do you have a question I can work with, please, Brenda?
Yes. I was wondering if you see me with having a boyfriend anytime soon or having kids in the future.
Okay, Brenda. First thing I'm getting, Brenda, is that there is a lot of changes around you. I think particularly since about August, I think you've been really clearing out what I would term the emotional closets. Like you've let go of a lot of old hurts and old grievances, old energy, and it's like you've looked at it, you've dealt with it, and you've let it go. That's all very positive. Now, I think also, too, now you've worked out the type of relationship that you would like. You know now what you don't want in a relationship and what you would be happy to negotiate on or what you'd be really happy with. So having said all that, yes, I do believe that there's a new relationship coming. I've got a man coming in the new year, probably more towards late January, early February. He's a tall man with dark hair and he's got a very thin moustache. I don't think you like men with facial hair, do you?
Sometimes. It just depends.
Yeah, they just said to me you weren't keen on that sort of thing. Beards and moustaches weren't your thing. But this one actually suits this man's face. I'm not saying I'm a big fan of it either, but some people it suits, and this man it suits. If he was to shave it off, he wouldn't look right. So it's very thin, it's very well kept. He's got a nice energy about him. Even though he's got the very, very dark hair, he's got very light blue twinkly eyes. He's got a lovely smile. He's got a nice energy. I feel like he's had a couple of relationships that didn't work out, and he's sort of done the soul searching on himself. He's been on his own for a while now, good 12 months or so, so he's ready to meet somebody that he could look to spending the rest of his life with. He doesn't want a casual fling thing. That's not his scene. So I feel when the two of you meet, it's sort of almost like, wow, how come we haven't met before and we're both sort of in such sync? I think the relationship will move very quickly. I think within 12 months, the two of you are, really seriously putting down roots together in the future, talking weddings, that sort of thing. And I'm going to say there's going to be 3 children, so I hope that's what you were planning on.
What was that?
I can see 3 children. 3 of them?
3?
Yes, 3.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're very, very welcome. But I want you to just make sure that you're true to yourself. Don't take somebody that's almost right. make sure the person that comes into your life is the right person for you. Don't take second best this time, Brenda.
Okay, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure, sweetie. Have a great Christmas. So we've got a couple of minutes left on the show. So it's always an interesting time of the year as we head towards the end of the year and we look at what we have and haven't achieved for 2017. There's been a lot of tragedies around the world, and ever since I started on this show about 7 or 8 months ago, now every week we seem to be acknowledging someone, and this week's no exception. I'm still going to send our hearts and our prayers and pray for rain for California. Those fires are absolutely terrible. I know what it's like to live through that sort of experience and that fear. Never had my house burnt down, but I've had my office burnt down. And I lived in a bushfire area when I was a child. So I do understand the terror of that. And those poor people, to be displaced at this time of the year above any other time of the year is horrendous. But we also have to send our prayers and our loving energy out to those in New York too, with that terrible tragedy there yesterday in the subway. I just wish the world would stop all this violence and stop thinking it's a cool thing to do, to blow each other up. It's a time of year of giving and loving each other, not being destructive. So I think if we can all collectively try and keep sending out positive energy, we will make a difference. By shedding some light on the world, we will make a difference and we will make this a better place to live. So next week on the show, we'll be looking at our final part in the 4-part series of Neptune Through the Signs. That will be in Capricorn, Aquarius and Pisces. We'll have our Simply Tarot card of the week. We'll also have our candle of the week. Hopefully I'll have a voice back next week so we can talk more about what's happening in this amazing universe of ours. And of course we'll be doing a couple of free readings as well, which is the most important part of the show, is I love to connect with every one of you. For those of you that follow me regularly on Facebook, you'll always see a card of the day on there. You'll see some interesting topics that we talk about. And I always put up a snapshot of the information that we've spoken about on the show. So please hop onto my website, amandahallpsychic.com.au, or onto my Facebook page and come and join in the fun there. We have lots of exciting chats and things like that going on. And I really do look forward to working with you all again in the next 7 days. And if there's a topic you'd like me to cover on the show, please just personal message me and we'll work it into the show as we go along. I like to sort of share some of my knowledge with you along the way and demystify astrology and tarot a little bit, because it is a magical energy to work with, and I'm really fortunate that I've been able to work with it most of my professional life.